God says. My child, there are moments when life stops you without warning. Moments when everything you believed was stable suddenly freezes, like time holding its breath. This is one of those moments. I am speaking to you gently now, because what you are about to hear shook your heart for a reason, but it did not come to destroy you. The news reached you suddenly. At an airport. In a place meant for departures, reunions, promises, and future plans. Your soulmate was stopped. Not after a long chase. Not after chaos. But in the middle of ordinary movement, people walking, announcements echoing, luggage rolling across floors. In the middle of normal life, authority stepped in, and everything paused. You felt it before you understood it. A tightness in your chest. A sudden cold inside your body. That quiet voice in your mind asking, "What is happening?" You tried to tell yourself there must be a mistake. You searched for logic. You searched for reassurance. And then the words came. Arrested. Court order issued. All assets seized. My child, I saw the moment your heart dropped. I saw how quickly fear rushed in and began to speak louder than faith. Questions attacked your mind one after another. Who are they really? What did they hide? Was any of this real? You stood still on the outside, but inside you were breaking. I want you to know something very clearly right now. Nothing about this moment escaped me. I was there when the officers stepped forward. I was there when your soulmate's name was spoken. I was there when the order was read that froze accounts, properties, access, everything they had built. And I am here with you now. My child, when a shock like this happens, the mind immediately runs to the darkest conclusion. You start replaying every memory, every conversation, every silence, searching for signs you might have missed. You begin to doubt not just them, but yourself. Do not let fear rewrite your story. This arrest is not what it looks like. I know how it feels right now. It feels like betrayal might be hiding behind the truth. It feels like love has been replaced with uncertainty. It feels like your future suddenly lost its ground. But hear me slowly, because timing matters here. What is happening is not punishment. It is exposure. At the airport, when your soulmate was stopped, they did not resist. They did not panic. They did not plead. Inside them, there was fear, but also resolve. They knew this moment would come. They knew the price would look heavy. They also knew silence was still necessary. Because if they spoke too soon, you would have been pulled into a storm you were never meant to face. You did not see their hands tremble slightly as they were escorted aside. You did not hear the quiet prayer they whispered, not for themselves, but for you. Protect them from misunderstanding. Protect them from fear. And I heard that prayer. My child, the court order that seized everything they owned was not written in haste. It was calculated. It was deliberate. And it was allowed for a reason far deeper than loss. When everything is taken at once, money, status, movement, reputation, it forces truth to surface. There is no hiding when all layers are stripped away. This is why it feels so extreme. I know your heart is asking, why them? Why now? Why like this? Because some truths cannot come out gently. Because some lies are only exposed when the surface is completely cleared. Because what is being uncovered is bigger than what you can see right now. My child, you are not foolish for feeling afraid. You are not weak for questioning what you thought you knew. Anyone in your place would feel shaken. But do not let this moment convince you that love was false or that destiny was a lie. The airport is a place of transition. And this arrest happened there for a reason. This was the point where one chapter could not continue as planned. This was the moment I stopped the movement, not to end the journey, but to change its direction. Right now, you may feel embarrassed, hurt, confused, or even angry. You may feel like the ground beneath you has disappeared. That feeling is real, but it is temporary. What is not temporary is my presence. I am asking you not to speak too quickly. Not to accuse too quickly. Not to decide too quickly. Some truths require patience before they can be carried without breaking you. Your soulmate is sitting in silence now, surrounded by walls that feel cold and final. But inside them is a strange calm. Not because they are fearless, but because they know this moment was unavoidable. They knew everything could be taken, and they accepted that risk long ago. For reasons you do not yet know. My child, I have not abandoned you in this shock. I have not turned away. I have not misled you. The love you experienced was real. The connection you felt was real. And the future you glimpsed was not an illusion. But it must pass through truth before it can continue. This is only the first layer being revealed. Do not let fear define the meaning of this arrest. Do not let appearances steal your peace. Do not let questions turn into conclusions. What looks like a downfall is the doorway to clarity. What looks like loss is the beginning of understanding. And what looks like the end is not the end. Stay with me. Breathe. Do not rush your heart. When the shock begins to fade, my child, a deeper ache takes its place. This is the moment when fear stops shouting and starts whispering. When the questions become heavier, not louder. When you sit alone and replay the words again and again, trying to understand how everything could be taken so quickly. This is the part that hurts in a quieter way. You imagine what it must feel like for your soulmate now. One moment moving forward, carrying plans, responsibilities, dreams, and the next moment standing still, watched, restrained, stripped of movement and choice. Freedom paused. Identity questioned. Everything familiar suddenly unreachable. And then you hear the next words. Assets frozen. Accounts seized. Properties locked. Access revoked. My child, when the world takes everything at once, it does not only touch money. It touches dignity. It touches identity. It touches the illusion of control that humans hold so tightly. You feel it too, even though nothing was taken from your hands directly. The future you imagine now feels unstable. Safety feels uncertain. You begin to worry not only about love, but about survival, reputation, and what people will say. I know the weight you are carrying right now. You are wondering how someone you trusted could be involved in something so serious. You are wondering whether there were signs you ignored. You are wondering if you are about to pay the price for someone else's choices. Listen to me carefully. This moment was allowed not to ruin you, but to separate truth from assumption. There are seasons when I remove support systems not because they are wrong, but because they are hiding something deeper. When everything is stripped away, the heart is exposed. Motives are revealed. And truth can no longer hide behind comfort. Your soulmate is experiencing this stripping now. But they are not breaking. Inside those walls, without access to what once defined them, they are still standing. Not because they are strong on their own, but because they already surrendered everything to me long before this moment arrived. They knew this could happen. They knew the cost would be misunderstood. They knew silence would make them look guilty. They knew people would judge before understanding. And they accepted it. Because sometimes the only way to protect something sacred is to let yourself look like the villain for a while. My child, I want you to notice something important. When the assets were seized, your soulmate did not beg for them back. They did not argue their value. They did not cling to status or security. What concerned them most was not loss, it was you. They worried about how this would affect your heart. About how alone you might feel. About how quickly doubt would creep in. This is why they did not reach out, did not explain, did not defend themselves. Not because they do not care. But because speaking too soon would pull you into danger. You may feel anger rising now. You may think, why didn't they tell me anything? Why let me be blindsided like this? These feelings are real, and I am not asking you to deny them. But I am asking you not to let them harden. There are moments when silence is not distance, it is protection. And there are moments when losing everything is the only way to expose what was hiding in plain sight. This seizure was not meant to destroy your soulmate. It was meant to flush out the truth. There are people watching closely now. Systems moving quietly. Evidence being examined. Patterns being rechecked. Things that were once invisible are being forced into the open because the usual shields are gone. My child, the pressure you see is intentional. When the court ordered everything frozen, it created stillness. And in stillness, lies cannot move. They cannot escape. They cannot adapt. They are forced to reveal themselves. This is why I ask you not to panic. I know your mind wants answers immediately. I know your heart wants reassurance. But some truths must rise fully before they can be explained safely. If they surface too early, they can cause more harm than clarity. Right now, you are being asked to do something difficult. To wait without knowing. Waiting tests faith more than pain ever does. You may feel isolated in this moment. You may feel judged by people who do not understand. You may feel like your story is being rewritten without your consent. But hear me now, clearly and firmly, this season does not define you. This moment does not cancel your destiny. This loss does not mean abandonment. I am closer to you now than you realize. The stripping you see is not the final word. It is the middle of a process that will expose something much larger than what you currently understand. And when that truth fully surfaces, this moment will no longer look like collapse. It will look like precision. Your soulmate is not forgotten. You are not overlooked. And the future you fear losing is still within my hands. For now, breathe. Let the noise settle. Let the assumptions fall away. Because what is being taken now is not meant to stay gone. And what is being revealed next will change everything you think you know. Stay with me, my child. The story is not finished. My child, there comes a moment in every great trial when the noise quiets, not because the storm has ended, but because truth is about to speak. This is that moment. The one where confusion begins to loosen its grip, and the pieces you could not connect start moving into place. You are beginning to see now that this was never just about an arrest. Never just about seized assets. Never just about public shock. There was a deeper design at work. Behind closed doors, beyond what you could see or hear, the case began to unfold in ways that did not match the story the world assumed. Files were reopened. Timelines were re-examined. Names you never heard were whispered in rooms you were never meant to enter. And slowly, carefully, a pattern emerged. Your soulmate was not the target. They were the key. My child, your soulmate was entangled in something far larger than personal gain or wrongdoing. Their name, their access, their position, their assets, these were not seized because they were guilty, but because they were connected. Connected to a network that believed it could hide behind legitimacy. Connected to people who assumed loyalty could be bought and silence could be guaranteed. They were wrong. Your soulmate discovered the truth long before you ever sensed danger. They saw discrepancies that did not add up. Movements that felt off. Decisions made in the dark that affected innocent lives. And when they realized how deep it went, they faced a choice that would change everything. To walk away quietly, and stay safe. Or to stay involved, and expose the truth. They chose the harder path. My child, this is why silence was necessary. This is why they carried weight you never saw. This is why they accepted being misunderstood. They became a silent participant, not to benefit from corruption, but to gather proof that could not be denied. The court order was part of that strategy. By freezing everything connected to them, the system forced reactions. Those who believed themselves protected began to panic. Money moved unexpectedly. Calls were made at strange hours. People revealed themselves through fear. And every reaction became evidence. Your soulmate knew this would happen. They knew their life would be paused. They knew their reputation would be questioned. They knew even you might doubt them for a time. But they trusted that truth, once fully exposed, would speak louder than appearances ever could. My child, this is why I ask you now to release the shame you may be feeling for questioning them. Doubt is human. Fear is human. But do not let guilt linger in your heart. You were not given the full picture because carrying it would have crushed you. The weight they carried was not meant for you. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that someone else had been operating through your soulmate's name, using their access, redirecting assets, manipulating structures while hiding behind trust. This person believed proximity would protect them. They believed no one would suspect what looked clean on the surface. But truth has a way of surfacing when pressure is applied. And pressure was applied. Evidence began aligning. Timelines confirmed suspicions. The story the public believed no longer matched the reality unfolding behind the scenes. What once looked like guilt began to look like courage. My child, when your soulmate was questioned, they did not deny involvement. They explained it. Calmly. Clearly. With facts that had been prepared over time. They did not defend themselves emotionally. They presented truth patiently. That patience is now working in their favor. You may still feel torn. Caught between what you see and what you are beginning to understand. That tension is part of awakening. It is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. The truth you are receiving now is not meant to shock you, it is meant to stabilize you. You are not losing everything. You are learning what was real. Your soulmate's silence was never emptiness. It was strategy. And strategy requires timing. If revealed too early, it fails. If held too long, it hurts. This moment, now, is when understanding begins. There will be a shift soon. You will hear fewer accusations and more questions. You will notice hesitation where certainty once existed. The narrative will begin to crack, not loudly, but visibly. Do not rush ahead of this process. Let it unfold. Justice that is rushed can be incomplete. Justice that is precise endures. My child, I know your heart is tired. I know the waiting feels heavy. But this is the turning point. The moment when truth stops hiding behind silence and begins to stand on its own. Stay grounded. Stay patient. Stay open. Because what is about to be revealed will not only clear your soulmate, it will change how you see strength, loyalty, and love forever. I am with you. And the story is moving toward clarity now. My child, now the weight begins to lift, not all at once, not completely, but enough for clarity to pierce through the shadows that have surrounded you. The storm that once seemed unending now shows glimpses of the sky beyond. And what was once frightening begins to reveal its purpose. The court proceedings, which felt like endless walls closing in, are beginning to change. The evidence that once seemed hidden in confusion is now aligning. Pieces of the puzzle you could not see before are falling into place. And slowly, the truth begins to breathe. Your soulmate stands at the center of this unfolding truth, not as a victim, but as a witness. Not as the accused, but as the one who holds the key. Every action they took, every moment of patience, every silent prayer, they were preparing for this exact hour. My child, understand this deeply, the assets that were seized, the accounts that were frozen, the properties that seemed lost. These were never meant to punish your soulmate. They were meant to expose the network that sought to harm, to manipulate, and to hide behind false innocence. Without this deliberate pause, the corruption could have continued undetected. And now it cannot. The people who thought themselves safe in shadows are beginning to falter. Evidence is emerging in ways that cannot be denied. The court, once convinced of mere appearances, is now receiving the truth in undeniable form. Your soulmate, who carried silence as armor, is beginning to see the release of justice. The same silence that caused fear is now producing relief. You may notice that the tension around you is easing, even if slowly. That tightness in your chest is softening. That nervous energy that made you second-guess everything is beginning to find a rhythm in truth. Because the storm was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to illuminate the path to justice and understanding. My child, you may still feel echoes of anger, disbelief, and hurt. Those feelings are not wrong. They are part of the process. But let them flow without building walls in your heart. For every wave of doubt you release, peace will step in to fill the space. The court's decisions are now beginning to reflect reality. Some orders are reversed. Some frozen assets are being accounted for with transparency. And the person who thought they could hide behind your soulmate's name is being exposed by the very system they sought to manipulate. This is the divine timing of truth. Your soulmate, who once appeared powerless under scrutiny, is now beginning to step forward with dignity. They are no longer silent in fear, but silent in wisdom. Every measured word, every calm action, every prayer whispered in secrecy is finally aligning with the light of understanding. My child, the love you share is witnessing a transformation. What once felt fragile, because of the uncertainty and the court's intervention, is now proving its strength. Not in appearances, but in endurance. Not in ease, but in the courage to remain faithful when the world judged wrongly. Now, you will begin to see restoration in action. Accounts are reconciled. Properties are returned. Reputation, once questioned, is being restored stronger than before. And your soulmate, who carried the weight of all this in silence, can finally breathe without restraint. This is the moment when fear turns into awe. When doubt turns into trust. When loss, which felt permanent, is revealed to be temporary, merely a step in a larger plan that you could not see before. My child, do not rush the celebration. Let it grow naturally. Let gratitude and relief build quietly in your heart. For rushing rejoicing can overlook the lessons that only patience and endurance reveal. You have walked through a storm together. You have faced moments when hope seemed distant. And now, with truth emerging and justice aligning, you begin to feel the fullness of what was always meant to be: safety, trust, and honor restored. The court's decisions, the reversal of seized assets, the revelation of truth, they are not just legal victories. They are spiritual victories. They are the recognition that when faith, patience, and endurance align, justice is inevitable. Your soulmate is returning to you not as someone defeated, but as someone proven. Not as someone shamed, but as someone vindicated. Not as someone broken, but as someone elevated. And you, who waited with an open heart, are witnessing the depth of love and loyalty that survived the greatest test. My child, the world will see a restored narrative. But you see more. You see the courage it took. You see the silent prayers. You see the sacrifices made in love and protection. And this awareness deepens the bond between you, not because of what was endured, but because of what was overcome together. The storm has not disappeared entirely, but it no longer carries the weight of judgment. The air feels lighter. The mind feels clearer. The heart begins to trust again. And in this trust, peace begins to root itself deeply within you. From here, every step forward is strengthened by truth. Every word shared between you and your soulmate is layered with honesty. Every embrace, every glance, carries the knowledge that love endured scrutiny, and emerged not just intact, but strengthened. My child, hold this moment in your heart. Remember that what was seized, what was questioned, and what was feared is being returned, not just materially, but spiritually, emotionally, and relationally. What once felt like an ending is revealed to be a divine turning point. The court may have acted in procedure, but my guidance acted in wisdom. The one who seemed restrained is now free in truth. And you, who waited and believed, are part of this restoration, not just as a witness, but as a partner in the unfolding of destiny. Your soulmate is back in light. Your love is back in clarity. And your future, once shadowed by uncertainty, now begins to shine with promise. This is the power of patience, endurance, and divine timing. This is the reward for walking faithfully through fear. And this, my child, is the beginning of restoration. My child, now comes the moment your soul has been quietly waiting for, the moment when the final weight is lifted, not just from the court files or public records, but from your heart. This is the hour when truth is no longer whispered behind doors, but acknowledged openly. And with that acknowledgement comes release. The final hearing did not arrive with drama. It arrived with calm. No shouting. No spectacle. Just clarity. The kind of clarity that only emerges when lies have exhausted themselves and truth has nothing left to prove. Your soulmate stood there grounded, steady, no longer carrying fear in their posture. The evidence had already spoken. The timelines had already aligned. The intentions had already been exposed. What remained was confirmation. And it came. The court recognized what had been hidden in plain sight all along. That your soulmate was not acting out of greed or deception, but out of responsibility. That the assets seized were not the fruits of wrongdoing, but tools temporarily frozen to reveal those who abused trust. That the arrest at the airport was not the end of their story, but the opening of a much larger truth. The order was lifted. Assets were released. Charges were dismissed. Names were cleared. And something even greater happened. Silence finally ended. My child, when your soulmate walked out, they did not feel victorious in the way the world celebrates victory. They felt light. As if a long-held breath had finally been released. As if the burden they carried alone had finally been acknowledged by the light. They thought of you. Not of money. Not of reputation. Not of revenge. They thought of the nights you waited without answers. The moments you questioned your own faith. The quiet strength you showed even when you did not understand what was happening. They knew then that love had endured something most bonds never face. And that endurance changed everything. My child, you will notice now that life begins to move differently. Conversations feel clearer. Decisions feel easier. The future, once clouded by "what if," begins to feel tangible again. Not rushed. Not forced. But real. Your soulmate will speak more now. Not because they owe explanations, but because they no longer need to protect silence. They will tell you things slowly, carefully, not to shock you, but to bring you into the truth they carried alone for too long. Listen with compassion. There may still be moments when the memory of fear returns. That is normal. Healing does not erase memory, it transforms it. Each time the past tries to frighten you, remind yourself, you survived it together. What was meant to destroy trust instead revealed its depth. My child, the restoration you are entering is not just material. Yes, stability returns. Security returns. Opportunity returns. But something far more precious is restored: confidence in love, in timing, and in divine protection. You were never abandoned in this process. You were never overlooked. You were being strengthened. The people who once judged will grow quiet. The ones who doubted will shift their tone. And those who tried to benefit from confusion will face consequences far beyond what you ever wished for them. You do not need to watch that unfold. Justice does not require your attention, it requires your peace. And peace is now being placed gently back into your hands. My child, your soulmate is no longer bound by survival mode. They are free to dream again. To plan again. To love without restraint. And you will feel that difference in the way they look at you, not with fear of loss, but with certainty of presence. This chapter did not happen to break you. It happened to prepare you. You are stepping into a season where truth walks beside you openly. Where love is not tested by secrecy, but strengthened by transparency. Where fear no longer dictates decisions. And now, before we close this chapter, receive this blessing. May every tear you shed be redeemed with clarity. May every night of uncertainty be replaced with rest. May your heart, once heavy, now learn to trust without fear. May your soulmate's path be protected, guided, and strengthened. May what was delayed return multiplied with wisdom. My child, the storm has passed. The truth has stood. And love has remained. Walk forward now, not cautiously, but confidently. What lies ahead is not punishment or loss, but purpose fulfilled. I am with you. And this new beginning is blessed. My child, there is a moment that comes after chaos when the soul finally begins to breathe freely. It is quiet, subtle, and often unnoticed by the world, yet it is profoundly transformative. You have walked through a storm that seemed endless: the arrest, the seizure of all assets, the weight of judgment, the questioning of love and loyalty, but now, a new energy surrounds you. It is the calm that follows revelation. It is the gentle unfolding of truth. Do not rush to interpret this calm as ordinary. This is the moment when your heart begins to recognize that everything it feared was never permanent, and every trial it endured was guided toward awakening. Your soul, my child, has been in preparation for this clarity even before you could understand the depth of the events surrounding your soulmate. You have not been alone. You have been held, guided, and protected, even when your mind screamed uncertainty and your heart felt abandoned. I want you to breathe in this truth: the arrest, the seizure, the uncertainty, they were not the punishment you imagined. They were a sacred intervention. They were orchestrated not to destroy, but to reveal. Not to punish, but to awaken. There are layers in life that can only be revealed through what appears to be hardship. And now, the time has come for these layers to show themselves to you in their fullness. Your soulmate, whom you feared had been broken, has been standing strong. Strong, not in the way the world measures strength, but in the quiet resilience of a heart aligned with truth. While you were afraid, while the world assumed, while rumors whispered behind closed doors, your soulmate held their peace. Not out of cowardice, but out of wisdom. Not out of distance, but out of protection. For you, for themselves, and for the sacred unfolding of destiny. And now, the truth is being recognized. Every hidden effort, every silent prayer, every quiet decision that seemed incomprehensible to you or to the world is now revealing itself as part of a divine plan. What appeared as loss is slowly transforming into victory. What appeared as shame is now recognized as courage. What appeared as isolation is now revealed as strategy. Do not underestimate the power of the patience your soulmate demonstrated. When you questioned, when fear attempted to take hold of your mind, when doubt tried to cloud your perception of love, they were moving carefully within a structure you could not yet see. Every action was deliberate. Every silence purposeful. Every moment of perceived absence was a shield for the future. I know the thoughts that now fill your mind. Why did it have to be like this? Why did I not understand sooner? Was my love not enough to see the truth? My child, hear me clearly, your love was never insufficient. Your understanding was never lacking. The timing of awareness is not a reflection of failure, it is a reflection of divine design. There is wisdom in the way clarity unfolds, and the delay is often the teacher that shapes your soul for the endurance and depth it will need to hold this truth fully. You may still feel tremors of fear, even now. That is natural. The heart does not immediately release the memory of shock. The mind does not instantly discard the echo of panic. But I want you to notice something sacred. Each time the memory surfaces, you are now able to face it with insight instead of chaos. You are able to observe it with compassion rather than surrender. You are able to hold it without letting it dominate your reality. Your soulmate, now emerging from the shadow of misunderstanding, is stepping into a new reality where their actions are recognized for what they truly were: courageous, deliberate, and aligned with justice. The court, which once seemed a place of accusation and fear, is now revealing the truth that was always present but hidden by appearances. The evidence that was once obscured by the noise of assumption is now clear, undeniable, and illuminating. And you, who walked patiently through the storm, are witnessing the unfolding of this clarity with a heart that is learning the depth of trust, patience, and divine timing. My child, let me speak of the restoration that is now beginning to take root. Assets that were seized, accounts that were frozen, reputations that were questioned, all of these material and social realities are now being realigned with truth. But more importantly, there is a restoration within your heart and within the heart of your soulmate. That inner restoration is the foundation upon which all external restoration will thrive. For when the soul is aligned with truth, when love is fortified by endurance, and when justice is revealed through divine timing, the external world inevitably follows. Notice the subtle ways in which this restoration is manifesting. Conversations that once carried tension now hold space for clarity. Every word exchanged carries the weight of truth rather than assumption. Decisions are no longer clouded by fear, they are guided by discernment. Actions are no longer reactive, they are deliberate, aligned with the higher plan. This is the beginning of a life rebuilt on foundations that cannot be shaken by fear, misunderstanding, or circumstance. Your soulmate will now walk with a sense of liberation that was impossible before. There is a lightness in movement, a calm in presence, a steadiness in demeanor that speaks of the soul that has endured trials and emerged unbroken. And when you witness this, do not allow your mind to focus on the past chaos. Focus instead on the resilience, the courage, and the unwavering commitment to truth that has guided them through what seemed insurmountable. Do not mistake this calm for a lack of depth. It is not superficial peace, it is profound alignment. The storms have revealed hidden strengths, the trials have forged a deeper connection, and the silence that once seemed ominous now resonates as wisdom. Your love, which survived the shadow of misunderstanding and the fear of loss, is now capable of moving into a space that is more expansive, more honest, and more sacred than before. And now, my child, I ask you to embrace the fullness of this moment. It is not merely the resolution of an external situation. It is the recognition of endurance, the acknowledgement of patience, and the validation of love that perseveres. Your heart, which has felt the weight of uncertainty, is now capable of experiencing the profound relief that comes with divine timing. Your soul, which has questioned, doubted, and feared, is now ready to receive the confirmation of truth. Let me speak directly to your heart. The fear you felt, the doubt you endured, the confusion that clouded your mind, they were not meaningless. They were the forge in which your faith and understanding were strengthened. They were the crucible that prepared your soul to fully appreciate the clarity, the restoration, and the profound justice that is now emerging. Without that period of trial, you would not recognize the depth of courage, love, and commitment that you and your soulmate now share. And now, the world begins to reflect what has already been true in the spiritual realm. Justice is manifesting externally in the court, in the reconciliation of assets, in the acknowledgement of integrity, and in the restoration of reputation. But more importantly, justice is manifesting internally, within your hearts, within your bond, and within the sacred connection that you share. This internal justice ensures that what has been restored externally will endure, because it is grounded in truth, patience, and divine alignment. My child, let us speak of the love that has survived this trial. It is no longer fragile or conditional. It has been tested by uncertainty, forged in patience, and illuminated by truth. The connection between you and your soulmate is now strengthened by the very challenges that once threatened it. Love that survives such a crucible is resilient. Love that is aligned with truth is unshakable. Love that emerges after fear and misunderstanding carries within it a sacred wisdom that will guide both of you for the rest of your journey together. Do not let past fears whisper into this new chapter. Do not allow the memory of panic to overshadow the reality of restoration. Each step forward is now supported by understanding. Each word spoken is now grounded in clarity. Each choice made is now aligned with the truth that has been revealed. The future you feared losing is now unfolding in a way that is both protective and abundant. Your soulmate, now cleared of suspicion, restored in assets, and vindicated in reputation, is free not only externally but internally. They can move forward with purpose, intention, and confidence. And you, who have walked faithfully beside them, even in moments when clarity was absent, are now sharing in the reward of endurance, trust, and divine timing. My child, I now ask you to receive this blessing. May every step you take from this moment be guided by the wisdom of truth. May your heart remain open, even when the world presents challenges. May your connection with your soulmate be strengthened by the trials you have endured and the clarity you now share. May abundance, protection, and divine favor flow into your lives, not because they are deserved in the worldly sense, but because the universe honors alignment, courage, and faithfulness. The court has lifted its orders. The assets have been restored. The reputation has been vindicated. But more than this, your hearts have been restored. The love that endured suspicion and fear has emerged stronger, wiser, and more luminous. The bond between you is now protected by understanding, patience, and divine timing. And the life that lies ahead is no longer clouded by doubt, it is illuminated by the light of truth. Do not be afraid to step fully into this new chapter. Do not hesitate to celebrate the victories that are both tangible and spiritual. Your soulmate's freedom, your restored trust, and the clarity you now share are all blessings that were prepared long before you even sensed their necessity. They are here not by chance, but by divine orchestration. This moment, my child, is sacred. It is the culmination of endurance, patience, and love that did not falter under pressure. It is the reward for a heart that remained faithful even when circumstances seemed unbearable. It is the beginning of a new season, one that is unshakable because it is built on truth, divine timing, and unwavering connection. Step into this season with gratitude, my child. Walk forward not cautiously, but with confidence. Speak openly, love fully, and embrace the clarity that has been revealed. Your soulmate is with you. Not only as a partner who has endured, but as a reflection of the strength, courage, and depth that now resides within you. Together, you are entering a life that is protected, blessed, and aligned with the highest truth. The storms have passed. The truth stands revealed. Love has been tested and proven. And you, my child, are walking into a future that is brighter, clearer, and more abundant than anything you could have imagined. Trust this path. Trust each other. Trust the divine timing that brought you through every trial. And know that from this moment onward, you are not only survivors, you are awakened, aligned, and ready to receive the fullness of life that has been prepared for you. Your journey continues now, but it continues with clarity, with strength, and with a love that has been tested by fire and emerged unbroken. This is your blessing, your restoration, your new beginning. And it is eternal.